Hello everybody, welcome to another True review. I am of course True, your Million G Gamer, and today I'm bringing you Atomic Heist on the Xbox One. It releases on the 20th of April. It's going to be priced at $10.99 and is initially releasing in the US region, and I've been assured by the developer and publisher it will be releasing in Europe very soon as well. So let's have a look at the description. Atomic Heist is a top-down 2D roguelike sci-fi shooter. You must retrieve the core, preventing enemies from making a doomsday device with it. Use power-ups to enhance your ship, weaken the enemies, boost your abilities and more. Grab the core and fight your way out from an alien-infested space station. Atomic Heist includes multiple unlockable ships and upgrades. The different ammo types affect enemies differently. The player will need to carefully manage ships, power-ups and ammo types to successfully complete the game. So how the game plays is you start off in like a level 0 kind of area where you actually steal the core, and as soon as you pick the core up you are getting radiation because it is a radioactive core after all, so your health continuously depletes. So washing this radiation off you and collecting radiation power-ups, it's really core to the game really to add to the survivability of your ship, because as well as the many bullets are flying around and enemies trying to destroy you by one method or another, the constant decay in your health is something to worry about as well and does catch you out on quite a lot of occasions. So to start off with, you only have the one ship available to you and you level up by the traditional way of killing enemies and progressing as far as you can through the game's 10 procedurally generated levels. Now what I like about this game is that each map does seem different every time that you play it due to the changes in layout, the changes in enemy types, enemy volume, the power-ups available to you, and it does really keep the game feeling fresh in terms of level design. You're tasked with a simple objective on each and every level, and that's to simply find the exit to the next floor. Sometimes that exit is locked and you do have to kill an enemy called a commando enemy, which is usually a giant enemy with a red hue around it, and that enemy is significantly tougher and does more damage to you. You know the kind, and it's very difficult to take down. Now along the way as well, one important aspect of the game is ammunition management. You do find yourself running out of ammunition an awful lot, so you do have to make sure that your ammo reserves are actually maintained by picking power-ups and trying to conserve ammunition wherever possible by actually making your shots as accurate as you possibly can. And this is where the fun part of the game comes in, because there's an awful lot of weapons available from you, from standard like rockets, guns, there's a plasma gun, a shotgun kind of effect, there's a couple of grenades, there's a proton beam, you name it. And my favourite and most devastating is the splinter shot, I think it's called. It kind of like fires a bullet which splinters into a mass of smaller projectiles, and it can be absolutely devastating once you get it powered up, and a very fun weapon to do and just absolutely annihilate everything in sight with. Other power-ups you can pick up are to advance your weapons ability, such as the strength of the ammunition that you fire and the fire rate. Like I said before, there's also radiation reduction power-ups you can pick up there, as well as changing your weapons. There's also power-up points which you can find on levels where you will be able to pick kind of like a perk, but these perks regularly come with a negative effect as well. So for example, you may get a perk that gives you 50% extra damage to the enemies on the enemies when you shoot them, but on the flip side of that, you have to give a penalty of that fires now kill you. Another example of that will be there may be enemies have 10% less health, but they fire 10% faster, something to that effect. So it's always a case of a give or take, and you have to be very careful what you pick with these perks, because if you stack too many of certain negative effects against you, they far outweigh the positives, and you can make your run very difficult to actually complete. The game, for such a simple premise, when you first play it, does have quite a lot of hidden depth to it. The more you play it, the more you unlock, and because it's a roguelike, whilst you may start from the beginning each and every time you are beaten or successfully complete the game, you do retain your level and you do retain power-ups and get more access to more unique power-ups which you can equip at the start of the game. Now these power-ups take a slot and different ships have different amounts of slots available to them. So these power-ups, which you can equip at the start of the game, do take a varying amount of slots up, so you can really tailor your ship how exactly you want it. Do you want more fire rate? Do you want more health? Do you want radiation protection from the core that you're carrying around? Do you want to be immune from splash damage? And then there's also a few other colourful ones as well, where you get different alternate fire modes, where you can encapsulate enemies in bubbles, you can fire rockets, for example. You can get proximity mines, and then the real kicker ones are the ones that you think, well, why am I picking that? That is one for a hacking tool. And this comes very important because on certain levels there are computers which you can hack, certain crates you can hack open as well, and in those you get records. And these records kind of like just had a little bit of backstory to the events of Atomic Heist, but they also do include cryptic clues on how to unlock the other ships available to you. So that, like I say, what seems like a very simple, straightforward shooter initially does have quite a lot of hidden depth to it. So turning to the game's graphics, so graphically it's not going to win any awards for the best looking game in the world, but then when the graphics ever matter, if you've got the playability, you've got a fun game on your hands, and that's what you have with Atomic Heist here. The graphics are functional, I would say. Each of the ships that you can unlock and pilot are clearly defined, they're clearly individual, and you can see the differences in the detail on them. As per the enemies, there's an awful lot of different enemies, from the simple basic ones that try to ram into you, to ones that lay mines, fire rockets, fire plasma guns, even ones that spawn extra enemies as well. They're all individual and all clearly depicted from one another, so you can easily identify them and adapt your tactics. The biggest thing with the graphics is the level designs, the background graphics. I mean, at the end of the day, you're in a starbase, which is meant to be a functional starbase. It's not meant to be flash or anything like that. So as I say, the best way to describe the graphics is functional and solid enough for the game that it actually is. So sound wise, again, it's functional. There's nothing really outstanding there to write home about. The little bit of music there is serves its purpose. The introduction sequence is that kind of, I would say, a kind of a low budget, cheesy sci-fi kind of movie introduction with a voiceover of what the situation is and what's going on in the game there. Same with the closing credits as well. Again, graphics and sound both functional in this regard, but it's the gameplay which elevates this to a very fun and very decent shooter. So in conclusion then, we have a very fun roguelike shooter which is spread over 10 levels. There's lots of upgrades, lots of weapons, lots of ships which you have to figure out how to unlock rather than them just being handed to you, which adds an all different aspect to the game as well. And it was just a fun title to play, and I think really good value for money. Now, initial playthrough for it took me about 2 hours before I had my first success and completed the game, and I've now been playing it for another 4 or 5 hours as well. So it's really great value for money in terms of replayability value, because the level design, the maps change each and every time that you play them, as do the weapon drops, and you can obviously try different ships, different tactics, and that adds all to the longevity of the title as well. So a wholehearted buy from me. It's a really fun game and deserves to be experienced by as many people as possible. So I hope you enjoyed that review, guys. Please remember to like, comment and subscribe, and I will catch you on the next review.